here's Brody Brazil.
You know, this is a video and a topic that's been on my mind, kind of on my radar for quite some time. I've been anticipating this might be a factor, but I didn't have any tangible evidence yet that it was starting to become a real thing. Well, now we know. Tariffs have officially hit Las Vegas. I say Las Vegas, but the entire United States. But in southern Nevada, there were several large-scale construction projects that were planned to get started, to get underway, but now respective companies are hitting pause because the cost of completing these projects is going to be a lot more due to tariffs. I imagine inflation and, construction material cost is also part of this, but specifically tariffs are the reason why one large resort is not going to do a $200+ million project. It makes me ask even more questions about a, $1.7, maybe $2 billion baseball stadium that the A's might have trouble building now with these tariffs imposed. More on the sports side in just a second, but let's begin with that tangible evidence. Wynn Resorts, back on this past Tuesday, became the first major Las Vegas casino company to admit that tariffs have affected their plans. Essentially everything that they would need to import from all over the world, but specifically China, it's going to cost a lot more to get that in. So they're just saying, hey, we're going to wait this out. If it's going to cost us double to do what we initially planned to do, we're just not in the market for that right now. And maybe it's a little bit of how their business is going, but also the thought of spending right now just doesn't seem like the wise thing to do. Here's the situation specifically at Wynn. They had this remodeling project for the Encore tower. It was all planned. It was all set to go. It was estimated to cost in the upper $200 million range. So file that away for just a second, right? $200+ million, that's no small amount of change, but it's also not like a $2 billion baseball stadium, right? So $200 million, a significant amount, and Wynn Resorts is punting on these upgrades for the Encore tower right now. Investors on a call a couple days ago, they were told that renovations would be on hold specifically due to the tariffs imposed. They're not trying to make up excuses or any other reason. They're just saying, this has now come to the forefront. This is an issue. We can't get around this, so we're hitting pause on this. Their comment was, quote, "We are currently reassessing the timing, scope, and sourcing of certain planned enhancements at Wynn Las Vegas." And if you kind of read into that sentence, the timing, right? So they still want to do this. They just don't think it's the right thing to do right now. The timing isn't great. The scope, right? Maybe they'll tone it down. Maybe they'll cut things by 25% eventually if the cost is going to remain high. The sourcing of certain planned enhancements, like where can they get these other materials? Can they do this another way? It's basically putting them in a pinch because what they had planned for, what they had budgeted for, is basically not possible anymore. The CEO of Wynn Resorts is Craig Billings. Craig had these comments on the conference call. Figuring out the revised timing is not trivial, because when we re-spec pieces, particularly furniture and fixtures, it's not like we're flipping through a catalog. This is a process that takes a lot of time. So to the extent that we re-spec a single piece of furniture, we're delayed by X number of months. A single piece of furniture, right? Because it's all on a large scale. The entire tower, all those rooms, all those spaces need to be furnished with the same materials. It just kind of works that way. There's just nothing we can do about that. And again, I know where your brain is going already. Wait, hotel, different than a baseball stadium, but also not that different from a baseball stadium? We'll get there in just a second. Craig also had this straight to the point quote, "We can't be naive. There's uncertainty out there." This isn't the best time in the world to start a $200 million or even a $2 billion construction project. Another report from, I think this is the CBS affiliate, Channel 8 in Las Vegas, KLAS TV, said this: another economic factor, international travel, would seem to be a potential problem for Wynn, which attracts some of the richest clientele in Las Vegas. So as I mentioned before, part of this is the tariffs. You'd have to think a small part of this might be that their business just isn't booming, like coming out of COVID as it was, and everybody wanted to go back to Las Vegas. Maybe it has toned down and scaled down just a little bit, so their plans have to adjust accordingly. Billings said that since the COVID-19 pandemic, about 9% of the market is from international tourism. But as that has declined under current economic conditions, Wynn has had no problem finding other customers to take their place, he said. So things have changed. It's not a lot worse, but it's different. I think it's safe to say it's not like it always was. So let's have a look at this directly now, side by side. Let's get straight to the point of this video. Here is something to consider. Wynn Resorts is a big company, publicly held. They've got a market cap of $8.75 billion. That's the company's valuation. They are an $8.75 billion company. And I think if you go even farther and wider than that, Wynn is worth even more than that. But this project for them, I say, was only $200 million, right? A small chunk of change to what their entire valuation is. An $8.75 billion company and a $200 million plus project. But they're saying, no, not right now. This is not the time for us. So put that side by side with the Athletics, who have a team valuation, and I think this is a generous one, of $1.8 billion. A lot of people think it's more close to 1.2 or 1.3 billion. 1.8, surprisingly, in the last valuation 2025 from Forbes. They have a project which they already upped to $1.75 billion. Most people expect it's going to be well over $2 billion when it's all said and done. And so what does this mean for them? Again, if a company that's worth almost $9 billion decided to punt on a $200 million project, here's a baseball team that's valued at 1.8 if we're being generous, and they want to build a $1.75 billion stadium. What is the status of this? How is this going to happen? And the Wynn project is going to be put on pause. I'm going to pause for just a second. I just want you to think about this. So now we might know why there's a little bit of a delay here. And with no extra investors and with no movement and no groundbreaking scheduled as far as I've heard, like this would be a reason to hesitate, just like a respected company like Wynn Resorts is hitting the pause button. How can this happen? How can this not happen and this happen? That's a huge question for me right now. Let's get to my takeaways. Number one, I realize ballpark construction and hotel renovation, they're two very different things. But are they? It's a large-scale construction project. It's a lot of repeating things, a lot of seats, a lot of rows, a lot of HVAC, a lot of glass. Yeah, you're building a dome versus renovating the insides of a hotel, but it's all construction. It's all things that are impacted by tariffs and how tourism is doing and how the Vegas economy is doing. And if tariffs are costing you a lot more and the tourism and economy piece is not where it used to be, then yeah, companies are looking at this very realistically. And I understand that maybe, Wynn Resorts doesn't have an immediate timeline, like the Athletics don't have a permanent home right now. So they kind of need this. Wynn can just say, hey, if we wait another year or two, and here's another point I'll make later, how long will these tariffs last? The current White House has only been in place for a small portion of a 4-year term. So I think expect these tariffs for several more years. Like, again, it's not going to change anytime soon is my expectation, understanding, maybe even prediction. Who knows? But both the hotel renovation and ballpark construction, they're both impacted by all these things. And the cost of anything isn't getting cheaper in 2025 and beyond. And this is separate from tariffs. Inflation and construction material cost. I mean, you look at stadiums that went up 20 years ago, and it's amazing to think, wait, they got built for $300 million. And now we're talking about $2 and $3 billion stadiums. The longer you push and wait and pause and punt on these things, the cost only goes up. And in the case of baseball teams, a lot of them with singular owners, they just can't afford this anymore. So I'm just putting these two things out there. I'm not telling you that this isn't truly going to happen, or I'm not telling you that it is going to happen. I'm just showing you what's going on with the Wynn Resorts and a big project and a big company like that had to put on pause. And it just makes me wonder what really is the status of this behind the scenes. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversation about this topic. Also, thumbs up down there. That'll help me, this video, and this channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.